Hello and welcome to MOVIEFONE. MOVIEFONE TV is your ticket to all that's new at the movies. Here's what's hot on screen. Based on the best-selling novel, director Martin Scorsese weaves together an unlikely tale of romance, murder, and betrayal in the Western crime drama, Killers of the Flower Moon.
The Osage, they have the worst land possible. But they outsmarted everybody. The land had oil on it, black gold. Money flows freely here now.
I do love that money, sir.
It was very important for me. As soon as I saw the book, they gave me the book, and I said, well, if you want me to be involved with anything that has to do with indigenous people and Native Americans, I said I had had an experience in the 70s where I began to become aware of the nature of what their situation was and is.
They have the say who gets the oil. Son, I got a question. You like women?
That's my weakness.
I'm fascinated by how do you really deal with that culture? How truthful can we be and still have authenticity and respect, dignity, and deal with the truth, honestly. That story, when I read it, indicated to me that this would probably be the one that we could deal with that way.
Well, we mix these families together, and that estate money flows the right direction. It'll come to us.
Shomikasi. That's how you are.
I don't know what you said, but it must have been Indian for handsome devil.
All I can tell you is those prairies are quite something. And they open your mind and your heart. They are just beautiful. And so I said, where do I put the camera? How much of the sky? How much of the prairie? And then I began to realize that the land itself could be sinister. In other words, if you're in a place like this and you don't see people for miles, you can do anything. Particularly, it turns out 100 years ago.
When this money started coming, we should have known it came with something else.
You can make the law work for you if you're smart enough, as we know now. But what I mean by that is that it's still a wide open territory. The place, as beautiful as it is, can shift to being very sinister. And what I wanted to capture ultimately was the very nature of the virus or the cancer that creates this sense of a kind of easygoing genocide.
I ought to kill these white men who killed my family. I need you here.
I am right here.
And so for me, I wanted to play with that world in contrast with the white European world. This was supplemented by the times that we went out to Oklahoma and met with the Osage. And it was very different than what I expected. What I didn't really understand the first couple of meetings was that this is an ongoing story out in Oklahoma. In other words, these are things that really weren't talked about. And the people involved are still there, meaning the families are still there, the descendants are still there. And Margie Burkhart, I think, she was the relative of Ernest Burkhart. She said, one has to remember that Ernest loved Molly and Molly loved Ernest. It's a love story. And so ultimately what happened is that the script shifted that way. And that's when Leo decided to play Ernest. And by that point, we started reworking the script, and it became really, instead of from the outside in, coming in and finding out who done it, when in reality, it's who didn't do it. It's a story of complicity. It's a story of sin by omission, you know? And so that's what afforded us the opportunity to open the picture up and start from the inside out.
Expecting a miracle to make all this go away. You know they don't happen anymore.
MOVIEFONE Spotlight. Set during the Edo period in Japan, a mixed-race swordmaster in disguise embarks on a deadly quest for revenge in the stunning animated series, Blue Eye Samurai.
Abijah Fowler. He was one of the 4 white men in Japan when I was born. One of them took my mother and made me a monster.
The Edo period is heralded as Japan's golden age. I mean, to this day, they call it the golden age of Japan. And that was when their borders were closed, completely closed off to the outside world, where it was its most homogenous. And the idea to have somebody who is mixed race, as I am, and we have a daughter who was born with blue eyes, and we called her a blue eye samurai, which was, the start of our conversations about it. What would it have been like to be different, to look different, to be a different race during that time?
You have murder in your eyes. He deserves to die.
The samurai, I saw its eyes. It's not human.
We wrote the script as if it was a live action piece. We, ran our meetings and mixed it and scored it and, worked with casting directors and costume designers from live action. But then we met the reality of animation, where we knew we had to learn a lot, where we had to work with people who knew it much, much better than we ever could and could teach us and be patient with us and also just lead us through it. So the main difference is how slow animation is. It is for the patient. The dough needs to rise and you can't rush it. But you can have anything you want if you're patient. So it made the show everything we wanted and more.
Under the law, revenge is a luxury for men. Women must be practical.
I've been a captive my whole life. If I die today, I die free.
We also felt like we needed Mizu to have more of a backstory. It's still relevant to this internalized self-loathing and dehumanization, but to really see where her broken heart came from. And especially after we've seen her do some questionable things, we needed to see why. Why does she go to those lengths? And it was a challenge, but it was a lot of fun.
Up next on MOVIEFONE TV, we look at the psychological thriller Fair Play and the action drama Rumble Through the Dark. To find out where to watch any movie, check out MOVIEFONE.com. Find it, watch it.
And it just made me realize how much hold these ingrained power dynamics still have over us.
MOVIEFONE recommends. In the thrilling relationship drama Fair Play, a sought-after promotion compels a young couple to confront the true cost of ambition and success.
How did I get so lucky?
Are you talking about me or your job?
Okay, sorry.
Are you getting married?
We're getting married. I wish we could tell the whole world.
It was a reckoning of sorts with some experiences of the past. It really came from this feeling I was having at a certain period of my life when my success didn't feel like a total win. It felt like a loss on some level because of the relationships I was in at the time.
We're gonna have to tell him sooner than later.
Morning.
Morning.
I think it's the right time to admit we're breaking policy.
These relationships with men who on the one hand adored me for my strengths, for my intelligence, for my passion, but at the same time there was also this feeling that they were threatened by the very same things that they adored me for.
I hear you're taking over for Quinn.
What?
I overheard it on a call.
It was never anything that was spoken about. It was just felt through tense exchanges or passive aggressive comments. And so I started to kind of undermine my excitement for those accomplishments in my way of protecting those relationships and not making these guys feel small.
So, what do you want?
He's promoting me.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry.
Why? I'm so happy for you. Okay.
And it got to a point where I normalized it over and over again. And it just made me realize how much hold these ingrained power dynamics still have over us.
Look into this. Let me know what you think.
I'm still working on the 3 from before.
Okay, we'll make this one the priority.
It's something that I felt like I needed to put on screen because it's something we can't even talk about.
Can I buy you another?
Now that you're making more money than me.
Oh.
What are you doing?
You know it's just a game.
You played very well.
I didn't know anything about the finance world. I had some friends in that world, but at the same time, while it being so foreign to me, it also felt like a place I could also understand what it is to work in a high stakes environment. Having directed a lot in TV, the highs and lows that you experience of the high stakes nature of that work. There is a lot of money on the table on any given day. So I felt like I could organically tap into that world even though I didn't know anything about it, you know, and then from there it was just like learning a new language.
I think it's a good idea. We both can't keep working here.
I'm not quitting. This firm has become my religion. You have become my God. You give me this opportunity, I will give you everything I got.
The movie wouldn't work if we didn't believe them as a couple and we didn't love them as a couple first and foremost. We have to love them to stay with them, you know, and to watch the unraveling. When I met with Phoebe and I watched her work, I think it was pretty instant that I knew that she was right for Emily. And then with Alden, I just, you know, he's been an actor that's been on my radar for a while. What he was going to bring to the role, you know, the duality of emotions, you know, of conflicting desires, you know, and the pain that I think he brought to the role that actually made the character very empathetic at times that normally maybe you wouldn't have empathized with him. And I think that that's the far more interesting version of the film.
I never got the shot!
This job, it's killing us.
Find it. Watch it. In a desperate attempt to right the wrongs of his past, a bare-knuckle fighter well past his prime steps into the ring one last time in the thriller Rumble Through the Dark.
I was a fighter. I ain't anymore. What kind of price you got on me?
Kind that'll get you chased down no matter where you go.
The impression we got when we first read it was this book begs to be a movie. It lives in a very cinematic world. The environments and the people are very vibrant and rich. And, you know, like any good Southern Gothic piece of literature, the landscape is also a character in and of itself. And the fact that we got to film in Mississippi and go to some pretty remote areas, you know, I feel like it's pretty true to the novel, and truer than it probably would have been had we not spent a lot of time in Mississippi.
Fight or don't fight. You might get hurt if you do. You will get hurt if you don't.
It's an interesting role to cast, you know. It's a 50-year-old guy who's a former bare-knuckle fighter, has spent 30 years in the cage. You know, he's damaged both physically, emotionally, and mentally, but you also have to believe he could possibly fight again. And I think, you know, there's not many guys who could really pull that off. So to be honest, Graham and I were scratching our heads for a while about who to cast. And then we really wanted something where, you know, to cast someone that they could then do a performance that people really hadn't seen before from them. So it would be kind of surprising and you wouldn't really know what's coming. And there would be that sense of danger and unease. And anyways, we had a producer, Cassian Ellis, and he called Graham and I one day. I remember exactly where we were in Hollywood. And he got on the phone and he said, "What about Aaron Eckhart?" And Graham just raised his hands and he goes, "Yes, that's him."
The lady at the store said you were a fighter, that right?
Once upon a time.
Why do you have to fight tonight?
Long story.
People would call it, you know, maybe Southern Gothic, but I would call it kind of Southern noir. And I think for our film, you know, we definitely have that noir vibe. And, you know, when creating that feel, we wanted to both be accurate to the Delta, but also create a world that you could have a little bit of this heightened sense of reality because there's characters in the film that are, you know, a bit unusual or pushed. And, you know, we really wanted to embrace that. So, you know, I hope the movie kind of has a little bit of a, you know, dreamlike feel because of that.
Yeah! It's gonna be a bad one. Come on.
Coming up on MOVIEFONE TV, we look at the paranormal comedy Nandor, Fodor, and the Talking Mongoose, and the mystery thriller The Good Mother.
My film, as strange as it is, actually has many of the more believable aspects of this story in it.
Indie Corner. Inspired by events that might be true, Simon Pegg stars as a famed paranormal investigator in the comedic mystery Nandor, Fodor, and the Talking Mongoose.
I am Dr. Nandor Fodor,
the world's foremost parapsychologist.
I am not a skeptic.
This is the strangest case I have ever encountered.
Obviously, it was a true story that I heard about through a very random source. And as soon as they just said the words, like Dr. Nandor Fodor investigating the legendary talking mongoose of the Isle of Man, it instantly just evoked this massive sort of Wes Anderson-esque narrative at this house somewhere. And I was like, I'm going to tell this story.
A family living in a farmhouse claim a talking mongoose lives in their barn. Creature's name is Jeff.
What do you think about it?
I knew that I wanted an actor who was really good with comedy, but also drama. So then when I start working with my casting director and get lists of people, I was like, oh my God, that's Simon Pegg. Yes, like he does it. Like he can go like funny and then like dramatic, but in a way that's almost still funny, you know?
A talking mongoose. The Irving family are peculiar.
There's a lot of material out there about Jeff and about the Irvings and about Nandor and about the other people who investigated this, and it's absurd. It's so far beyond absurd, actually, that my film, as strange as it is, actually has many of the more believable aspects of this story in it.
We are going to the Isle of Man. I have almost 20 years of research in this field. You're here to see Jeff. Is the creature here? Well, because we can't see him, doesn't mean he ain't here.
I wanted it to be very classic. I wanted it to feel very cinematic. My DP is unbelievable. I mean, she's responsible for the way the film looked and how lush and beautiful it looked. Her name's Sarah Dean. And my vision and what I went over with her right from the get-go was a lot of smooth camera moves, a lot of steady, you know, still shots, very classically shot.
I'd say the wee rascal's probably watching us right now.
Everybody on this island has their Jeff story. Tell me yours. You and I both know there ain't no Jeff.
To go on set and have people who were talking, you know, on their breaks about Jeff and the Nandor and the you know, the story, you know, it was really cool. Like they were really into the art and into the lore and stuff.
Hello?
Tomorrow I shall let you see me.
Indie Corner. In The Good Mother, Hilary Swank stars as a journalist who joins forces with her estranged son's pregnant girlfriend to uncover the truth behind his mysterious murder.
Hey, Mom. There is something I want to tell you in person. I love you so much.
Me and my best friend Madison, who grew up together and grew up making movies kind of in all the locations that we actually ended up shooting this. And the opioid epidemic, and specifically fentanyl, was really beginning. We were starting to see it affect a lot of people we knew, friends, things like that within our community. For us, we've always wanted to do a trilogy kind of about our hometown and about the people, and sort of make a grieving mother hero that does something different with that idea.
Someone killed my son. I need to know.
We gotta leave, but I don't think that's what you should be thinking about right now, Mom.
I loved Michael, and I'm sad he's gone. I'm pregnant.
Olivia had been attached for 6 years because we're buddies, and then Hilary was like, that was always oh my God, can you imagine if we could get Hilary, you know, to do this, because she would just be so perfect.
You know I didn't make him a junkie. No, I don't know that. Is he still dealing? That's the thing, he had stopped. Somebody called him that night. He left all freaked out. And then bam. Who's that? That's about $50,000 worth of dirty heroin.
She only ever has the best interest of the film in mind. So that very quickly takes away the anxiety or the fear, because you realize that she's on your team. It's an education seeing her on a set. She's worked with the best of the best of the best for a long time.
I assume you know the implications of this.
I know more than anyone. Mother knows best.
Stay tuned. There's more coming up on MOVIEFONE TV. Thanks for watching MOVIEFONE TV. To find out where to watch any movie, check out MOVIEFONE.com. Find it, watch it,